What is going on, guys? My name is Sean Bernard, and today I'm here with bettingnj.com here to give you a review on ESPN Bets, the newest sports book that is taken to the sports betting world. ESPN continues its journey to be the worldwide leading in sports, and this time dipping its foot into the betting experience. So I want to take you through what that means for the industry as a whole, and just give a breakdown on what to make of the sports book as a whole, the pros and cons of using it, and everything else that you need to know before getting in. Now, before I dive fully into it, I do want to recommend that you guys can check out a written version of this on bettingnj.com. This goes a little bit more in depth than I am today, that I want to give you guys the basics for what you need to know. But there is this in article form, and you can get the link in the description of this video right here to check that out. So if you have any specific questions, it's an awesome resource to refer to that and get your questions answered there. But I do want to just touch on the basics today, take you through a little bit of ESPN bets and what to make of it. Now, before I dive in, I do want to point out that you guys might be familiar with Barstool Sportsbook. That this is the same company that is partnering with ESPN now. They pulled out of the Barstool deal. This is Penn Penn. That is the company, that is Penn Gaming, that is working with this. So now they're partnering with ESPN to try and take things to another level, and the early results have been pretty promising. So let's begin by touching specifically on the sportsbook. I'll give you a little taste of what things look like, take you through the login process, the how to create an account, and everything else. But here's a look at the interface here. Pretty sleek design. That this little mint color is where what the app looks like when you have it downloaded on your phone or mobile device, where you can see the numbers in the middle there. They also have a number of their ESPN personalities. You can see Scott Van Pelt there. There's some Stephen A. Smith parlays, and they have things like that that create a little bit of a unique betting experience in that regard. But let's start at the beginning before we get any farther and go to the sign up process in the top right. It's a pretty basic process here that you just have to issue your state issued driver's license, go through the process. Pretty seamless way that you have to go about it. Nothing out of the norm in that regard. I'm going to skip this and go to my login to get to my specific accounts we go in. And the other thing that I would point out, as I mentioned with the Barstool Sportsbook situation, is if you already have an account created on Barstool Sportsbook, that they are accepting that to translate over, whether that be funds in your account, just your initial login. So that is something to keep in mind as you go through the process. But there are still ways that you can capitalize, take advantage of these bonuses. There's some really lucrative bonuses that you can take advantage for the creation of this sportsbook. And the best place to make sure that you are getting the most bang for your buck in that area is by referring to bettingnj.com. We have links that will take you directly through to make sure you're getting the best possible bonuses to create your account and have the most funds available for you. That is the best way to minimize your risk and maximize your potential earnings, by coding your account with some additional earnings and opportunities to wager with. So make sure to check that out. And once again, the link is right in the bio to make sure that you're doing that. So now that we are logged in to the ESPN Bets app, once again, here is a look at the interface. Here is where you're going to go to deposit money. So we're going to go to the deposit. And the thing that I like to point out is there's some really diverse options for how to get money in your account. There's the traditional online banking, debit card, PayPal, VIP preferred. They also offer Skrill, which is a little bit out of the norm and not a staple on every sports book. Credit card, cash at casino, and wire transfer are all acceptable. So I like that there is a variety of options for how to get money in your account. Now let's take a look at how you would actually physically place a bet and the process of how that goes. Let's begin by scrolling at the NFL slate here. So at the time I'm recording this, before the Eagles and Chiefs Monday night matchup, a big game that everyone has eyes on. You can see all the other matchups are still here on the table. And beyond just the individual games, you can scroll through, check out the futures for a Super Bowl winner. Let's say I'm feeling real optimistic about the Eagles, sit at plus 500. I do think it's a little bit disrespectful. The 49ers ahead of them at plus 450. So let's say the Eagles to win the Super Bowl is a wager that I want to place. I'm going to go over to the bet button. You see it gets added to your bet slip right on the right hand here. If you were to put in $20 here, type it in, boom, $120 payout, and then you would simply click place bet for that to go through there. And beyond that, it's just not the basic futures here. If you want to go to season specials, these are some things that really kind of appeal to me. These are one of the more general ones as far as to reach the NFC Championship, AFC Championship, most wins in the regular season, plus 200 for the Eagles there, plus 275 for the Chiefs. Tonight's matchup at the time that I'm recording this will go a long way in changing these odds for sure. There's also the teams with the least amount of wins, which I think is a fun bet to wager on there. Team to be number one seed in the AFC, wild card, etc., etc. And they also have player futures, which are especially fun in my mind. There's regular season MVP, Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes, each tied at plus 300 at the time of this recording. It's also offensive player of the year, A.J. Brown right in the mix, as well as Jalen Hurts, not too far behind them in that running there. Defensive player of the year, offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year, comeback player of the year. There's all these options for what you want. And it is not exclusive to just football. If we're going to go back, let's check out the NBA. Can dive into the NBA, see all these matchups of the day, whether it be Pelicans versus Kings, Clippers versus San Antonio Spurs, Heat versus Bulls, everything you want there. And they have the same exact kind of concept where they have deep player futures for regular season MVP. If you want to scroll down, Rookie of the Year, Victor Wembanyama up to minus 225 favorite there. Starting to run away with that, but I do think Chet Holmgren at plus 225 has some intriguing value. I do think the Thunder end better. Sixth man of the year. There's other ways that are interesting. Most improved, Tyrese Maxey plus 105. That is pretty good value. I will say as a whole that I've noticed some intriguing value on the ESPN Bet slate. That there's been some line inconsistencies in favor of the ESPN odds that get you at a little friendlier figure than I've seen at some other sports books in comparison, which is a huge point in the benefit of this and something that makes the usage very worthwhile. A couple other points that I did want to bring up just as a whole. First off, let's jump into the live betting figure here. So as we kind of know in today's day and age, that live betting has become more and more important to the overall betting experience, that you don't want to be missing out on the action, be unable to get involved in the future. So live betting offers you a way to get in on the action, even if you kind of missed the opening whistle for the matchup. So if you're sitting there watching the game with your friends, want to get some skin in the action, you can simply pull up the live betting. And I actually really like the functionality of the live betting here on ESPN Bets. You can see how the lines work the same way. That, for example, if I'm going to look at this Iona versus High Point men's basketball matchup here, I like Iona plus 3.5. We can see they're behind 9 points at the point in this matchup, but I'm going to click the plus 3.5, gets added to my bet slip, and the same exact process. If you put a $20 wager for an overall payout of $43 and just place bet right there, goes right through in the same exact way as if it was a traditional bet. And we can see the line already changing there. That is one of the quicker factors with live betting, that you have to be on your toes. Things are constantly changing and you have to be ready to capitalize when the moment is right. Now I want to talk a little bit about a more, I guess, deeper rooted way to wager here. We know parlays are incredibly popular. Those are things that have grown. But beyond just that, let's take a look at the NCAA basketball lineup here. There's a ton of good college basketball coming out. It's getting that area of the season is starting to heat up, and we obviously have a ways to go until March Madness. But these are the games that matters as teams begin to coat their resume and make their case why they deserve to be in the big dance. So let's start with this matchup here. Tennessee, the 7th ranked team in the country at the time of this recording, 11.5-point favorites to Syracuse. I like Syracuse to keep that a little bit closer than that. I believe a home game for them. So we're going to add that. The plus 11.5 adds to the bet slip like normal. But I also feel good if I want to throw in a Louisville versus Indiana. I'm surprised that Indiana is a 7.5-point favorite in this matchup as well. So 2 even numbers. I'm going to add that, and boom, it automatically creates the parlay there. Plus 300 for each of these spreads. So plus 11.5 for Syracuse, plus 7.5 for Louisville. Same process. If I were to place a $20 wager, that would pay out $80 there. But let's say I want to get even crazier. I want to throw another one to the mix there. We're going to jump on Bryant. So Bryant money line, I do feel good about them taking care of business against Howard, and that brings the parlay up to plus 535 value. So that is the best way to possibly do it. And you can keep for a potential payout of 127.06 there. So that is how you kind of build your parlay the exact same way as if it is a traditional bet. Makes it extremely easy for you by offering this on the side. So very cool. And another factor that I would like to point out is really cool, the way you can move the lines of this. And I'll go back to football to give a better example. These are a little different on how you look at the spread. So to the Eagles and Chiefs game, if you want to move the line in favor, so the Eagles plus 2.5 are underdogs in the matchup at this time with an even line there. Let's say you're feeling really good. You think they got that line wrong, and you want to go to the Eagles for minus 2.5-point favorites. You can get that at plus 135. So I do like how you can kind of move the line and create a bet to fit what you desire. The same exact principle goes to the total points. So if you think this is going to be a high scoring matchup, let's throw it at 52.5. I think it's going to be a shootout between Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. I can get that at plus 200 value there. So incredible odds, very flexible in the way that you can do it. And the last point that I did want to bring up here is, once again, these promos. The promos are what make them a little bit different, that they are trying to build up this all-exclusive, interactive, just overall experience for users, that you can hear Scott Van Pelt talk about a game on TV, then hop over to the ESPN Bets app and see exactly what he's betting on and see if you want to tail or fade that. So make sure to stay up to date with these promos. It is something that separates them from the general vicinity and general other options on the betting market. So make sure that you stay posted for that there. Now, just to kind of get an overview of my thoughts on ESPN bets as a whole, my feelings on it. I think that this is going to be an industry changer as far as an app. That I will give it a 5 out of 5 for the overall bonuses. They're offering some really lucrative bonuses right now, something that you should get in on the action of, even if it's just to open up an account, put some extra funds in there, and it doesn't have to be your primary sports book. But I do think it is worth taking advantage of. Some of the more impressive welcome bonuses and just overall promotions that I've seen on any sports book thus far. They obviously have the ESPN backing, so it makes it a little easier to fund these types of things, but I do think it creates a better experience for the user, and I would recommend you take advantage of that. The payment options, I'm also going to give a 5 out of 5. That I think it is up to industry standard and beyond. That things like Skrill are not available on all sports books. So by the fact that they have these variety of options, I think it's fitting for anyone. Everyone can find an opportunity or a way to get money into their account that is safe and easy for them. So I will give them a 5 out of 5 there. The sportsbook app as a whole, I'm going to go 4 out of 5. For the most part, the lines I've been found really appealing. That there's been some friendly line movement in favor of things that I've liked to bet. I have seen a little bit of inconsistencies on certain things compared to other sportsbook, which is a little bit rare. But for the most part, it's worked in the favor of the direction that I believe. So I have personally enjoyed that. I don't love the functionality of it, and I'll say I've had a tougher time on the desktop version than on the mobile version. I found it a little bit easier to use on my phone and on a mobile device rather than the desktop in particular, which is what I was showing as a demo in this video here. But I still think that it is not quite up to par on the tech category when you compare it to some of the bigger competitors in the industry who've been doing this for a little while now. That could just be a bump in the road and something they fix, but just something to keep in mind there. The variety and features, I'll also give a 4 out of 5. They offer 17 different sports markets in addition to esports and TV award betting options. The Penn Play program should continue to reward returning players for their loyalty to the site. So it does feel like this is kind of the benchmark, and they're going to add to it, that this is the baseline and things will get even more and more expansive. But I still think it does a nice job of covering all the bases, and all the main topics, main sports, and main activities that you want to wager on are there for the taking. So I do think they do a nice job of covering the variety and features. And lastly, customer support, I'll give a 4 out of 5. That phone and email support options are the primary communication channels for now, as a support chat has yet to been added to the website. This keeps it as a 4, and I will say it looks a little worse than is actually the case. That personally I had to jump on and have an interactive experience to get a problem fixed on my end. It popped up with a nice like 300 people waiting in line, but it really ripped right through it and got to me pretty rapidly. So I was happy with the overall response time, and they did overall resolve my issue. So I do have a positive experience with the customer support. It will be interesting to see how ESPN Bets moves from here. That this is something like we've never seen. They're already legalized in 17 states, with New Jersey being one of them already. ESPN did not take this opportunity lightly. That this is something they intend to continue down that path. We know how the whole sports and gambling world as a whole is evolving. So it'll be interesting to see how much ESPN plays a role in this moving forward. But for now, I would recommend cashing in and taking advantage of the ESPN Bets app. It is one of, I believe, going to be an industry changer and something that is in it for the long haul. So make sure to check that out. And before you do that, hit the link in this description to check out bettingnj.com. Make sure you're capitalizing on all the bonuses there, and check out any other questions you might have. Appreciate you guys for tuning in this video. Best of luck with all your plays and wagers in the future, and I will talk to you next time. Peace.